The highlights of today's defense news, 18th of December 25. Army receives final batch of Apache AH-64E attack helicopters to be deployed in Jodhpur. Digantara expands into missile tracking for national security. DRDO invites bids for Quantum Avionics. ICG ship Sarthak makes strategic port call at Chabahar in Iran. Indian Army contingent departs for India-UAE joint military exercise Desert Cyclone 2025. GHATAK RPSA hits configuration freeze milestone under Aura D1 project. Indian Navy is accelerating the deployment of unmanned surface vessels swarms. Army inducts tanks artillery into Kashmir via military special train. Quintrans raises $750,000 pre-seed funding led by Capital A. Cligent Aerospace has unveiled the design of its CL-1000 hybrid electric STOL. In the global highlights, China is testing a prototype lithography machine to make the most advanced semiconductor chips. Russia deploys S-500 missile defense system on combat duty for the first time. Electronic warfare hits the littorals. VTOL drone delivers expeditionary EW edge. Norway's Kongsberg to acquire California Missile Company. Helsing and Kongsberg working on large two-digit number of satellites for ISRT constellation. UKDI initiative invests over £150 million in drone and counter-drone technology. The news in detail. Indian Army has received the remaining three Boeing Apache attack helicopters, which will soon join the Army's 451 Army Aviation Squadron based in Jodhpur. The helicopters were brought to India aboard an Antonov AN-124 aircraft. Indian Army's Apache helicopters made their debut during Exercise Maru Jwala earlier this year. Exercise Maru Jwala was part of the larger tri-service drill exercise Trishul. The Army is steadily expanding its firepower in the attack helicopter domain and is also set to induct 90 homegrown LCH Prachand. The Army Aviation Corps also operates the weapon systems integrated version of the advanced light helicopter known as Rudra. Digantara, the Bangalore-based space tech startup, has raised $50 million in a Series B funding round to accelerate global expansion, satellite manufacturing, and defense-linked space surveillance capabilities. The funding details include $50 million or 450 crore rupees raised in Series B. The investors are 361 Asset of India, SBI Investment Company of Japan, Roni Screwwala, and Entrepreneur. Existing backers are Peak 15 Partners and Kalari Capital. They indicated strategic expansion plans beyond India and the US into Europe and other regions, set up new manufacturing facilities for satellite production and optical systems, plan to launch a 15 satellite space surveillance constellation plus two missile warning satellites by 2026-27, accompanied by a robust R&D growth. Doubling research teams to strengthen AI-driven space situational awareness and defense applications. This is important because Digantara grow from SSA to full stack intelligence. Digantara is evolving from a space situational awareness SSA startup into a sovereign space surveillance and intelligence provider with direct defense and national security applications. The company is developing space-based missile tracking and warning systems, aligning with India's push for next-generation deterrence capabilities. Its satellites will also support space debris monitoring, orbital traffic management, and dual-use applications for both defense and commercial sectors. It reinforces India's self-reliance in space defense technologies, reducing dependence on foreign surveillance networks. Positions Digantara as a strategic player in the global space tech ecosystem, competing with US and European space intelligence firms. Digantara's planned 15 satellite constellation plus missile warning systems alter India's orbital coverage density, debris tracking efficiency, and missile detection timelines compared to current capabilities that would quantify the operational leap in deterrence and situational awareness. DRDO has invited the private sector and startups to contribute to the development of India's sixth generation fighter jet. The initiative will focus on creating quantum avionics, a technology that promises to detect enemy targets even in concealed or complex scenarios. The Research Center Imarat (RCI) has invited Indian private companies and startups to co-develop quantum-based avionics for the fighter jet. Quantum avionics refers to a suite of sensors and navigation systems that use quantum physics to achieve detection of hidden or underground targets, high precision navigation without GPS, situational awareness even under advanced enemy EW, ultra low signature sensing, harder to detect than ISA radars. This is a leap beyond current fifth generation avionics, which rely heavily on ISA radars and classical EW systems. Indian Navy is accelerating the deployment of unmanned surface vessel swarms to strengthen coastal defense and enhanced littoral surveillance. This marks a strategic pivot from experimental trials to fully funded operational pathways, reflecting India's growing emphasis on unmanned maritime systems. India's coastline spans 7,500 kilometers, and the Indian Navy is focusing on autonomous swarm operations, enabling multiple USVs to coordinate for surveillance, rapid response, and threat detection in littoral zones. Indian defense startups are contributing platforms like the A5 Meglan USV, an AI-powered autonomous vessel designed for surveillance in areas like Sir Creek and the Indian Ocean region by Tardid Technologies. The move comes amidst recurring Chinese naval presence in the Indian Ocean, including warships and research vessels, which has heightened India's focus on maritime vigilance. USV swarms are a force multiplier, offering cost-effective, scalable surveillance, rapid response, and enhances India's ability to counter Chinese naval activity and assert presence in the Indian Ocean. Indian Army has successfully inducted tanks, artillery guns, and engineering equipment into the Kashmir Valley via a military special train, marking a landmark logistics achievement. On 16th of December, the Indian Army carried out the induction of tanks, artillery guns, and dozers into the Kashmir Valley using a military special train. The equipment was transported from the Jammu region to Anantnag, South Kashmir, a critical corridor for northern frontier operations. This was part of a comprehensive validation drill to test the Army's ability to mobilize heavy combat and engineering assets quickly and efficiently. The operation was executed in close collaboration with the Ministry of Railways, underscoring civil-military synergy in infrastructure use. The strategic significance includes enhanced mobility, operational readiness, infrastructure leverage, rapid force projection. Pune-based startup Quintran, also referred to as Q Hyperloop, has raised $750,000 in seed capital led by Capital A, an early-stage venture capital firm. The early-stage round focused on scaling engineering and manufacturing capabilities. Speaking of research and technology, Quintran began as a high-performance research team working on magnetic propulsion systems originally linked to Hyperloop concepts. The company is now leveraging that expertise to design and manufacture electromagnetic motion components, that is, actuators, propulsion modules, and control systems. Positioned in the electromagnetic actuator and motion control segment, which has applications across aerospace, defense, robotics, and industrial automation. Sugosha believes this to be path-breaking since building India-made electromagnetic actuators, reducing reliance on imports for critical motion components. Potential applications in defense systems, transport infrastructure, and industrial robotics aligning with India's push for self-reliance. For India's tech ecosystem, Quintran represents a deep tech engineering startup moving beyond software into hardware innovation, a space where India is rapidly growing. For the global markets, electromagnetic actuators are critical in next generation mobility, drones, robotics, and defense systems, giving Quintran a potential export pathway. This is a fascinating pivot from Hyperloop research to manufacturing electromagnetic actuators, essentially turning futuristic propulsion R&D into industrial-grade motion technology. Gujarat-based Cligent Aerospace has unveiled the design of its CL-1000 hybrid electric STOL short takeoff and landing aircraft, marking India's entry into the global league of aircraft OEMs. The key features of the CL-1000 are: it can take off and land in under 150 meters, enabling operations from small fields even comparable to a cricket ground or bus stop area. It is designed with a hybrid electric powertrain, balancing efficiency, sustainability, and reliability. It is configurable for 9 passengers or up to 1200 kilograms of cargo, making it versatile for regional connectivity. It is engineered for short haul routes up to 1000 kilometers, ideal for regional aviation. India's first indigenous STOL aircraft, developed with clean sheet design principles and parallel exploration of hydrogen electric propulsion for future sustainability. India has over 450 underutilized airstrips. The CL-1000's ability to operate from unpaved and short runways could revolutionize regional air mobility. Cligent Aerospace positions India as a global aircraft OEM, a historic milestone for the aviation sector. STOL aircrafts are valuable for military logistics, disaster relief, and remote area supply chains, giving the design both civil and defense relevance. CL-1000 is more than just a regional aircraft, it is a strategic enabler for India's aviation ecosystem. By combining STOL performance, hybrid electric propulsion, and indigenous design, it could reshape how India connects remote regions while also offering export potential in markets with constrained infrastructure. The global news: China has built and is testing a prototype lithography machine that can generate extreme ultraviolet light, the core technology used to make the most advanced semiconductor chips, though it has not yet produced working chips and faces major technical hurdles before mass production is possible. Chinese researchers completed a large prototype EUV lithography machine in a high security Shenzhen laboratory in early 2025. The device reportedly fills nearly an entire factory floor and is now undergoing testing. The project was driven by a concentrated, state backed effort, often described in media as a Manhattan Project for chips, aimed at breaking Western dominance in advanced semiconductor equipment. The prototype was assembled with help from a team that included former engineers from ASML, the Dutch maker of commercial EUV systems, who are said to have reversed engineered aspects of ASML's technology. Observers stressed that generating EUV light is only one part of a far more complex system. EUV lithography requires ultra precise optics, vacuum systems, light sources, and contamination control at nanometer scales. Reports note the prototype can produce EUV light but has not yet produced functioning chips, and Chinese authorities have set an internal goal of achieving production capability by around 2028, with some analysts viewing 2030 as a more realistic horizon given the remaining engineering gaps. Why does this matter geopolitically and economically? EUV lithography machines are central to manufacturing the most advanced AI and smartphone chips. Western suppliers, especially ASML, have been a choke point in global supply chains. A credible domestic EUV capability in China would reduce Beijing's dependence on foreign suppliers, reshape global semiconductor supply chains, and intensify technology competition between China and Western countries. In spite of many uncertainties, the bottom line is that this prototype is a major milestone in China's long term push for semiconductor self sufficiency and signals accelerated ambition, but practical, high volume chip production using domestically built EUV systems remains a multi year challenge. Petrodynamics and Aerovironment brought a cutting edge electronic warfare system to the edge of the battle space during the U.S. Navy's Silent Swarm 25 exercise. This demonstration, hosted by the Naval Surface Warfare Center Crane Division, showcased AV's EW sensors aboard Petrodynamics P4 transwing vertical takeoff and landing drone. The platform completed multiple scenarios, observing, detecting, and engaging threats, delivering actionable intelligence for littoral surveillance missions. Its modular architecture also allowed the EW payload to be integrated and flight tested in a single day. The VTOL drone weighs 90 pounds or 41 kilograms at maximum takeoff and can carry up to 15 pounds or 6.8 kilograms of payload. Its folding wing design allows fast transitions quickly between vertical and horizontal flight while maintaining stability in gusts. Powered by an electric driven train, the drone cruises at 60 knots and can dash up to 100 knots per hour. The UK Defence Innovation Initiative has invested over 150 million, 140 million pounds in drone and counter drone technology during its first year of operation, marking a major boost for Britain's armed forces and domestic defence industry. The key details: the funding amount, more than 140 million pounds allocated in 2025. The focus areas are development of new drone systems for the UK Armed Forces, investment in counter drone technologies to protect the UK homeland and allies, counter drone allocation, around 30 million pounds specifically directed towards anti-drone systems, reflecting concerns over Russia-linked drone incursions across Europe. UKDI was formally launched in July 2025 by the Defence Secretary John Healey. The UKDI is backed by a ring-fenced £400 million annual budget, ensuring sustained innovation funding. UKDI uses new contracting methods to help British companies scale prototypes quickly into deployable systems. Over 20 British SMEs are involved in the drone investment programs alongside universities and micro SMEs. The funding accelerates deployment of advanced drone and counter drone systems, strengthening the UK's ability to respond to evolving aerial threats. Looking ahead, with 140 million pounds already deployed in its first year, UKDI is expected to expand into other domains like AI-enabled systems, cyber defense, and space technologies. The emphasis on drone reflects their growing role in modern warfare, but the broader 400 million pounds annual budget ensures a pipeline of innovation across multiple sectors. That's the news for today. We hope you have enjoyed the news. Please do subscribe to our channel and do give us your feedback. Thank you.